One of the most powerful things about Flow Mobile Surveying are our real-time data sync features. So what does this mean exactly? Well, there are two parts to the product. There's the dashboard, which can be used for scheduling work and creating reports, or just by office-based administrator users. And then there's the mobile app, which you can see on the right-hand side here, which is used by the surveyors and the people on site. So these are two very separate parts of the product. But because we have our real-time data sync features, any changes that happen on one will immediately be reflected on the other, assuming you have a data connection, of course. It's a bit like magic the first time you see it. So the first thing to say is there's no button to sync the data. It just happens automatically. A bit crazy if you've come from a product with a data sync button, just to think that it happens in the background, but that's how it works. So the way that I'm going to show you this feature in action is to add a report on the dashboard, and you'll see that it'll be immediately added to the mobile app as well. So in order to show you this, I'm going to drill into the job itself, which currently has no reports. On the dashboard, I'm then going to add a new report, and I'm going to choose this asbestos survey V4. Just keep an eye on the right hand side there as I do that. So as soon as I added that report, you can see it was immediately added to the mobile app. I didn't have to press a button to sync the data or anything like that. I'm going to switch over to the mobile app, and I'm going to show you that data sync in reverse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop into this new report, and I'm going to add something into the scope of work. So I'm just going to say 90s build, something very simple. Just keep an eye on the left hand side this time. As soon as I save this, you can see the tick was added to the section because there's now something to show. And if I drill into that section, move me out of the way, you'll see we now have that same text that we added on the mobile app. Again, we didn't have to press a data sync button, it just happened automatically. So this real-time data sync will work for basically anything within the job or within the report. So for example, if I was to change one of these stages on the pipeline, let's just change this to incomplete, you can see that again was immediately reflected on the dashboard. Now the only real caveat to what I've just shown you there with the real-time data sync is when you're working offline, things are going to work a little bit differently. So in order to illustrate this point, I'm going to switch over to airplane mode on the mobile app, and I'm going to show you what happens. Okay, so airplane mode is now on, and I'm going to change something on the mobile app, and then we'll see what occurs. Now, like we did before, I'm going to change the status of this stage, but this time to complete again. Now, if you look at the dashboard again on the left-hand side, that's remained as incomplete because, of course, there's no internet connection. There's no way to sync that data up. So what's basically going to happen is as soon as we get an internet connection again, that data sync will happen automatically. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to change airplane mode to being off again. Now you can see we didn't actually do anything else. That QC stage has automatically changed to complete. So those changes kind of sit in the background and they wait, and then as soon as you get an internet connection, they will start to happen. Sometimes there can be a bit of a delay if, for example, you've been taking photographs. Those media uploads may take a while to clear, but they will just take care of themselves in the background. You don't need to worry about sort of doing anything. Now, one more thing to note is you might have multiple people on site, maybe using the mobile app at the same time. If they all have an internet connection, then any changes that one person makes will be immediately reflected on the other person's mobile app and also on the dashboard as well. If both people are changing the same items, then the latest changes will be used. Now, this might get a bit confusing if, for example, one person's offline and one person's online, but the system is clever enough just to kind of work out which are the most recent and relevant changes, and then once that person is online again, if they are the most recent relevant changes, they will be updated onto the item. I just want to show you one final thing, and that's when you're dealing with table data. So let's say we are creating an inspection item. I'm just going to add a very simple item here, and let's just do a couple of fields here. Okay, so there's our first item. Now, if we make any changes to this item, you're going to actually see which fields have been changed within the dashboard in real time. So let's go into this item, and we're going to make a change to this building here. So keep an eye on the left hand side there and keep an eye on the building. So as soon as I save that, you'll see that that momentarily flashed up to let us know that that's what had been changed. And that can be a great visual clue to anyone sat in the office, maybe administrators, as to what's actually being done. So that was just a quick rundown of the real-time data sync features within Flow. If you're coming from another product where you're used to pressing a button to sync the data up, this is going to feel pretty magical. It's going to mean you don't have to sit in the car, and wait for the sync to happen. You just know that it's going to happen in the background. I hope you find these features a real time saver when you're doing your surveys on site.